use 3 different colors to create the sand. Sand, light umber, and bronze. And I'm going to do it very methodically. First, I'm going to put the sand down in a very small space. Now, I'm not going to cover it completely with the bronze. I'm going to give it a little bit of bronze in the center. Okay, the bronze has like a mossy green when added to the yellow of the sand. Then I'm going to bring in the umber into the dark spaces. And then I'm going to cover it again with sand. Blending it all up. Then I'm going to repeat the process again. Sand. Work in tiny, tiny spaces. Bronze. Just getting a light layer of bronze in there. And then dark umber into my shadowed areas. Take my sand again, blend that light layer. And then I'm going to repeat the process. Sand. Now I want it down here to be lighter than up there, so I'm going to use more sand than I am going to be using the umber. Bronze. And the umber. Lighten it back up with the sand. If you make it too dark, you can always add in more sand. But this is giving me a richness and some depth. So it actually looks like the picture is going into the depth of the water. And as I said, down here, as it comes towards you, it's going to be lighter. Whenever you want something brought to you, you add light. Just in tiny places, not the whole thing. And light umber into the corners where it would get darker. Now, one thing I like to do with pencils is I like to give them a rest. And I don't know if that's a thing or not, but I know it's a thing for me, that in between layers, And what I'm thinking, and I could be wrong, is that the friction from rubbing melts the wax slightly. So when I go back for another coat, I get a much better traction on the tooth than I would if I made multiple layers without letting it rest. Now, right there, I'm going to add some white because I really like the very light. Go back to my sand. Now, this is towards the back, so there's going to be more bronze and more umber in these upper, the upper part of the sand. I'm going to add the umber in. And then blend it all up with sand. That right down there. I'm going to hit it with some white. Okay. The last little bit should be over there. I had grabbed the umber first. Now the bronze. Now that I got the color coding, I guess, done on the sand, now I'm going to come back with a couple more colors. I'm going to come back with a warm gray 90 and a green ochre. And for these two, I just want to put in a little bit of shadowing under some of the objects that I see. Nothing that's going to detract from the object or the scene, but just a little bit that your eye won't notice, but it's there. The shadows make all the difference. Don't skip this step, because now you have these little blue things sitting on the sand, where before, see, like this, it's kind of floating in the air. Watch how much better it's going to look once I get the gray in there. And it doesn't have to be much. I'm not doing much. See, it hasn't taken away anything from the colors on the floor. Because your mind is just going to see it as a shadow and dismiss it as being what it's supposed to be. To me, this is the most fun that you can have, is at the end when you start getting to that final layer and you put your shadows in. This is the part I like the best doing it. Once you get comfortable with it, I'm sure it's going to be yours too. Because this is how you bring your picture to life. And as I said, you don't have to do too much. And sometimes I even have to sit back and walk away for a few minutes, do something else, because that when you come back, you notice other things. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with my green. And I just want to get a little bit of moss and algae growing on the floor. Not much, very subtle, but on the bottom of the ocean, you're going to always have that. Nothing is ever one color. That's what's so much fun about coloring, is doing those blends. Okay. Maybe take a little more white. Just lighten up that sand color ever so slightly. In some, but not all places. Just blending in some of this a little bit better. And the sand is done. Now I'm going to finish up the water. I did that on hyperlapse, but I just wanted to show it to you quickly. I decided I was going to use my, here they are, my Caran D'ache pencils, and I used 3 of them. I don't know the names of the pencils that well. I can recognize them. Okay, This is Blush Pale. This is Malachite. And this is Prussian Blue. Ooh, 666. And I just did it in the same way as I did the sand. I used, these are my dark, light, and middle. I went in with the middle. Sometimes I went in with the light, depended, in a small area. Working very patiently. My darker blue would go into my shadowed areas. And then my light I would blend things up. Now, these are not as blendable as Prismacolor. So to get that creamy effect, I did add a white on it. See, and I can blend it up with the white. Another reason why my blender of choice is always the white pencil. Because when you're done blending it, you can go back with your colors again and just brighten them up. And this works for any pencil that you choose. I'll probably always use Prismacolor white as my blender for anything I do. And there we go. You can go in. Here should be a little darker. And I will finish up the background. And then we're going to go make magic with the face.